Hey people of the VC, it's Andy Cloudy Milder back with my first video of 2018. Hope you all had a great new year and enjoying your stack of music that you would have got over the Christmas period, I'm sure. This is a thread response video. I don't know, not really a thread response. Because I don't think it was intended to be as such. But Scott Waters, you all know Scott, No Life Till Metal channel, posted a video earlier today showing his favourite EPs of the 80s, and I thoroughly enjoyed that video. Showed some great EPs, and it got me flicking through my own, and I thought, well, why not chuck together a response? I thought it would be fairly quick, but I've pulled out a ton of records. I had far more than I thought. So it got me thinking about what really makes a record an EP, and I'm sure lots of people have their own opinions on this, but this is really what does it for me. So record wise, it's got to be 12-inch. It can be 45 or 33 RPM. Contains between 4 and 6 tracks inclusively, although maybe go a little bit more, but not less than 4. And it must only be available pretty much in that format, so there's no 7-inch equivalent. So for example, I've got the Quiet Riot Metal Health here. It's a 4-track, I guess you could call it an EP, but there was also a 7-inch version with Metal Health and Come and Feel the Nose. I think this one has a couple of extra tracks. So I've tried to discount records or releases that were effectively a single off an album, though I may well have missed 1 or 2 in here, so feel free to point out that mistake if you spot it. And also an EP to me, something called a mini album. So I've kind of, I don't know if there's a blurred distinction or any distinction between an EP and a mini album, but I've not really taken that into account. So I've tried to avoid putting anything 12-inch single wise, which is what, 3 tracks or less, and I try to avoid anything over 30 minutes as well. So big stack. I'm going to jump in. I'm not really prepared too much for this, so I'll probably fly through some of these. But there's quite a few live mini albums, live EPs in here as well. More than I really thought that I had. But I like everything I'm going to show, and I've tried to avoid duplicating any of the records that Scott picked. Although there are a couple in here for specific reasons I will go into. But check out Scott's video if you haven't already. I'll try and remember to leave a link below. So first up. These will be in alphabetical order, I think. So first one is live. It's a 6-track EP. It accepts Kaizokuban. Track listed in Japanese and English. It's got Metal Heart, Screaming for a Love Bite, Up to the Limit, Head Over Heels, Love Child, and Living for Tonight. Love Child is a great track, one of my favourite on here. I think this was the first, my introduction to Accept, although I had it on I had it on a tape back in the 80s, and I certainly didn't know it was called this. I seem to remember it written in biro would have just said Accept live, but I do remember Love Child specifically. So that's number 1. Oh, that was from 1985. Again, all these are 80s. Now, Scott showed this one. I'm going to show it again simply because Anthrax are one of my favourite bands, and this is the first record of theirs I picked up on vinyl. My introduction to Anthrax was Spread the Disease album. Again, I had it on taped off somebody. Soon after I went to the record shop, and Among the Living hadn't come out yet, and I think this was a keenly priced addition to the collection. So this is the Megaforce. I want to put it. It's the UK version anyway, UK import. In fact, it might just be an import, not a UK press at all. There we go. Yeah, so Joey Belladonna's intro to Anthrax. Another Anthrax one. So this is Panic of Essen. 6-track EP. It's got a couple of tracks from State of Euphoria. So Now It's Dark is the first track. It has Antisocial, but actually has it's a French version with Joey Belladonna singing in French. The ironic thing really is I've got the album that Trust did, that originally did Antisocial, but the English version of them singing it. So I've got the French band singing in Antisocial in English and the American band singing it in French. It's cool. It's got Friggin' in the Riggin', Sex Pistols, Parasite, which I think is a Kiss cover, Sex, which is another Trust song, and Pipeline. Can't for life remember that, but that's instrumental. It's a really, really catchy instrumental. I used to play that over and over when I was younger. Another live one coming up. Armored Saint live, Saints Will Conquer. Again, this is I think there were different versions with different number of tracks. This is a 6-track live album. Scott described EPs as, you know, it just gives you enough but leaves you wanting more, a bit of a kick in the face and or punch in the face. Kick in the face, a bit violent. Punch in the face, which is also violent, but I digress. So this is Raising Fear, Nervous Man, Book of Blood, Can You Deliver, Madhouse, and No Reason to Live. Certainly leaves me wanting more. I'd love this to be a much longer album because it sounds great live. One that a band that I didn't know, I showed this recently. So this was I picked this up on one of my recent trips to the US when I got to meet up with Rob from Boston, Helmut Diggy, and Bit Bop Boom. This is a Banshee, Cry in the Night. I took me ages to realise that Cry in the Night was actually written in the drops of blood, I guess, at the bottom. So John made me buy this one. I'd never heard of them before. He picked it up, he put it in my hands and said, "You want to buy that, you'll like it." And he wasn't wrong. So this is Banshee. This is from, I'm not really been saying the years for the other ones, have I? This is from '88 on Metal Blade Records. Great sort of maiden sound to this band. Passed me by, never heard of them in the '80s, but certainly glad to have that in the collection now. So thanks again, John. That was a great recommendation. A record I really don't play anymore, and it kind of sticks out like a sore thumb because it's not metal at all. But I played this to death back in what, 80? It's probably 88, is it? 85. It's earlier than I thought. Mind you, I can't read. Yeah, 85. Diamond Dave Enterprises. Yeah, when this came out, I played it to death. I got it after Eat 'em and Smile and loved that album. And even though there's nothing metal about this, Easy Street, Just As You Glow, California Girls and Coconut Grove, cover versions. Yeah, I absolutely loved this back in the day, but I haven't played it for decades now. This is a floppy disk now. It's I've just been listening to this one. Haven't listened to this for a long, long time. This is a Dio Intermission. This is a mostly live EP. Came out between Sacred Heart and Dream Evil, I believe. Yeah, so well, this is '86. So this was recorded on the I guess the Sacred Heart tour. Vivian Campbell left the band about halfway through, so he's plays on the live tracks, but then Craig Goldie joined the band, and they wanted to represent him on a release as well. So apart from the live tracks, 5 live tracks: King of Rock and Roll, Rainbow in the Dark, Sacred Heart, Rock and Roll Children, and We Rock. There's a studio recording, Time to Burn, which I forgot his name again. Craig Goldie was also writing. What I particularly love about this back album is Claude Schnell here, bass player. It looks like he didn't turn up and they've had to get a waxwork in to cover him for the photo shoot. He looks completely dead in the eyes on that photo. But it's a short, punchy, good live album. I'd read that it was poorly received at the time, but I've always thought it was quite good. Nice short, sharp injection of Dio live. You just can't beat it. Next up, some more live. This actually I got VCLT from Greg the Egg some time ago, and it's Girl School Live and More. This is a Japanese live show from '82. 6 tracks tonight. Demolition Boys. Please Don't Touch. So that's the I'm doing the song they did with Motorhead. Hit and Run. Come On Let's Go, and Furniture Fire. It looks like a picture disc, but it's not. It's just a very big label and brand picture on the back. So it's very cool, and one of the amazing things that Greg has sent me over the last couple of years. So thanks again for that, Greg. That's a killer addition to my Girl School collection, which one of these days I will get round to showing. I promised that before. More female fronted metal this time. That's Hellion. This is a 5 or 6 track. 3 on the front, 3 on the back. Yeah. Again, we have Amberlynn, who was the lead singer. They didn't really do much with this lineup. They had lots of legal problems, and which prevented them from releasing further stuff and in-band fighting. But this is kind of good, raw, female-fronted 80s metal. It's great stuff. So this is from '83. Music for Nations. Can't beat it. An album, a mini album EP, call it what you will, that I've only recently added to my collection. But again, I had it on a tape version, and that's Halloween's self-titled EP. Just 5 tracks on this one. Now this is Halloween, probably at their rawest. So this is before that they released Walls of Jericho, before Michael Kiske joined on vocals. I don't think Kai Hansen's vocals sound great on here. It's not really Halloween at their when they've kind of evolved their power metal sound that they became more kind of famous with. A bit more Iron Maiden sounding. Certainly Victim of Fate on side B. Right, sorry about that. Camera froze, although it looks like the audio carried on. So yeah, I had nothing else to say on this one really. So this is what, 1985 on Noise Records. Yeah, there we go. Halloween's self-titled EP. Nothing professional here, folks. Another one, the other one that Scott did show, which was Metallica $5.98 EP, Garage Days revisited. I'm showing this one again because this is a different version than the one Scott showed. I mentioned this in the comments to him as well. So the UK version just has 4 tracks: Helpless, Crash Course in Brain Surgery, Small Hours, and Last Caress, Green Hell. The US version has 5 tracks. It has a song called The Weight on it as well, and the tracks are actually in a different order. I love this when it came out. It's one of my favourite things that Metallica have ever done. I saw them since it was '87. When I saw them at Donington that year, they were kind of touring on this. It was the first time that they'd been in the UK with Jason Newsted in the band. And I played this to death, and I know this like the back of my hand. So when I actually heard the US version fairly recently as well, in the last couple of years, and the tracks were in a different order and they had the extra track on, it just sounded completely wrong. It just shows how you can familiarize yourself so much with one version that if you change the order or you add something else in. So The Weight, to me, although not a bad song at all, doesn't fit on this album at all, and the order of the US one just seems wrong. The flow just seems completely wrong to me, and so even though we kind of got less for our money over here, For no other reason than just familiarity. I much prefer this version, and I can't just get to grips with the US version with the extra tracks. So there we go. More live. I know this one's an EP because it says it on the front. So this is Motorhead, The Golden Years. Live EP, I think this is from 1980 on bronze. And it contains Leaving Here, Stone Dead Forever, Dead Men Tell No Tales, and Too Late, Too Late. Great stuff. Nice little live EP from Motorhead. Of course, I've no idea how long we're doing for time now because second half of the video. My introduction to Testament, live at Eindhoven. I'm sure I've heard a little bit about them before, but this was pretty much a blind buy back in, what's this, 87? I'm not doing very good on my guessing game today. 87, yeah, well done me. Megaforce Records, Over the Wall, Burnt Offerings, Do or Die, Apocalyptic City, Reign of Terror. I think they'd already had one album up by then. June the 8th, 87, live at the Dynamo Open Air, Eindhoven, Holland. This is a great, great live EP. Love it. Just a couple left, so thanks for sticking with me if you have. Wasted. Rather risque cover. I believe this is Wasted's first release. Again, I had this on tape in back when I was a teenager, and when I started collecting records again, it was one of the first that I sought out. I actually have two copies of this now because Chris over at Vinyl Transmission, he sent me a copy of this as well, and it is just a brilliant EP. It's my favourite thing that Wasted have done. I think it's better than the follow-up albums that they had. We've got Won't Get Out Alive, The Price You Pay, Rocksteady, Hurt So Good, and Cinderella Boys. It's a great little EP. I'm going to spin that one after this, I think. And last but not least, we have some Zodiac Mind Warp and the Love Reaction. This is the High Priestess of Love. Doesn't even tell you what's on it, unfortunately. As usual with Zodiac Mind Warp, it's a little bit out there. Even the kind of the thank yous on the back, I'm not going to read it all out, but it starts off: delinquent genius Zodiac wrote all the songs, rearranged the atmosphere with his steel lungs, and crushed the magnetic tape with his veins. Groove pusher, Cobalt stargazer, sent engineers mad with his squealing sleaze grinder. Kid Chaos scowled at his sonic rumble hammer. Slam Thunderhide erected a monstrous beat on the Earthshaker, and it just goes on like that. Complete nonsense, but a bit of fun nonetheless. So how many tracks do we have on here? We have 3 at the front and 3 at the back, and I kind of dig that custom label. So there we have it. So that's High Priest of Love, sorry, and I think this was what, 1986. So this was the first thing that Zodiac Mind Warp released before Tattoo Beat Messiah, and it's very raw and sleazy. So if you like your sort of sleaze late 80s metal that's rough and ready, Zodiac Mind Warp, you should definitely check them out. So you have it. That's my stack of EPs. Sorry for it being so long. Well then, sorry, not sorry. There's some good records there. Let me know what you think of these. Maybe you guys can do a response video as well, and we can get something going here. And catch you again soon.